Okay, Tom, so let's start off by talking about the Children's Theatre. Do you want to give me a bit of an overview about that?
Right, well, we were given the play Cinderella to work off, and we were told that we would be taking it on tour to various schools around the local area. So we had to create a set that could be easily changed whilst it's on stage from one scene to the next, but it also had to easily be transported to the various schools. And also another feature it had to contain was the shadow puppets for various scenes. So we had to create the shadow puppets to do on the stage, as well as create various rat puppets for the actors to use.
So you were responsible for making these puppets?
Yes.
So what did you make them out of?
We got various recycled bottles, such as milk cartons and various things. Paper mache them over brown to give them the kind of ratty look, and then used wire to do their whiskers and various bottle caps or egg carton bottoms for the eyes.
And do you think they worked well? Did they look effective?
I think they worked fairly well. They did last a fair ways through it, but they were pretty beaten up by the end of it.
Excellent. And did you make one of the shadow puppets as well?
Yes, I made Cinderella. We had to make Cinderella's father and Cinderella's mother. There was also a point where we had to create a life-sized mother puppet for Cinderella to make on stage, but that was soon discarded for a larger life-size shadow puppet of a mother.
And you worked on that as well,
yes.
What materials did you use?
For Cinderella we used wire, a kind of chicken wire thing for her body, as well as using more washing up scraping wire for her hair and various normal wire for making her outline of her face.
Excellent. And then you took the show on tour around schools. How did that work?
It worked fairly well. We had to constantly take the set apart, put it in the van, then move it to the next place and set it up again. So that was a bit repetitive, but it was all right.
Do you think the further you did it, you kind of got quicker and more effective? And
yeah, it probably was a little bit rough in the start, but it worked a lot better.
And did you do any operating or anything in that show?
Yes, during we divided our shows up into the 4 tours of the 4 schools, as well as 4 performances in the box. And when we did the productions in the box, I was in charge of lighting in scene changes.
And how did you find that?
I felt it good. It was my first time doing a big lighting performance thing, but I think I did fairly well at it.
And what kind of things did you need to think about and be watching and be aware of?
Well, we had to be aware of when the scenes changed, because on various songs, because that's when the lighting had to change from flashing to being warm to being cold. It all depended on the scene and the various cues the actors gave us verbally. Excellent.
So you were having to watch out for those cues and use the script.
Yeah, although using the script was a little bit difficult because of time management, the script was shrunken down fairly, and a few lines were altered. So with the script we had, it was a bit different from the play, so we had to kind of work around that and know the play as well.
Excellent. And you feel that you kind of got used to that the more you did that?
Yeah.
Excellent. You had like a technical and dress rehearsal before an audience. Did you think that was useful?
Yeah. Having a proper dress rehearsal made it a lot easier to know who would be wearing what, how everything else would be affected.
Excellent. And the shows themselves in the school, was there any particular one that you think went well, or what was different between different venues?
The size of the actual stage, because with the box we've got here, we're able to put up loads of different lights with loads of different effects, but when we went on tour we were limited for space and how much we can use. As well as with the van, we were also limited on lighting, so we took the movers instead to give us a little bit more range of lighting, because if we just stuck with stationary lights we'd be a bit limited.
Excellent. Can you give me an example of something technical which engaged the audience, which might get the kids excited and interested in the show?
Well, with the movers in various scenes, we had them rotating around the room, and they probably focused a little bit more on that.
Excellent, so it gives them something visual.
Yeah.
And what about the puppets? Do you think that gave them something interesting to look at?
Probably, yeah. It was fairly interesting making the puppets and seeing how they work with the actors.
Excellent. Can you give me an example when you worked with Hilary to work on any of your ideas?
Well, when we originally did the rat puppets and made them, there was a little bit of a problem for the actors holding on to them. So we had to incorporate handles within them. So we got sticks and stuck them in with glue, so the actors could actually hold on to them instead of having them just slipping out off their hands.
So that's kind of problem solving
Yeah.
and working with the actors. And did you have to kind of discuss any ideas with Hilary about the puppets? Did she come in to have any chats with you?
The puppets did run a little bit behind in the making, but we were able to get them all ready.
Excellent. And do you think you worked well with the other people in the tech team?
Yeah, I think we worked fairly well getting everything sorted and ready.
Do you think it was kind of a productive process?
Yeah.
Excellent. Can you give me an example of any kind of research you had to do? Did you have to look for images of puppets? Or?
Yeah, when we did the puppets and we were told about life-size puppets, we had to go out and search for various life-size puppets. So whether they be big... one of the productions we got told about was the War Horse, and they used a proper wooden skeleton of a horse to move around for the horse instead of using a live one.
Excellent. And you watched some videos and looked at some images of that?
We had to research various life-size puppets.
How did you think they worked? Were they interesting?
Fairly interesting. You could, because if you look at the War Horse, it's all wooden. And you can actually see that it's a puppet. It's not like if it looks real, but it still works effectively.
Excellent. And when you were doing lighting, can you give me an example of any different lanterns you used?
You got the movers first for various moving different effects.
Yeah.
You've got the profiles for various different spotlighting. So if someone's being focused directly on the stage, you've got your Fresnels, which you can modify to cut down. Instead of having one huge circle light, you can cut it down to a square. You can also add gels to that to add colour, and then you've got your profiles and par cans, which can be added gels again, and they give more of a added overall stage look. You've got floods, which are overall stage look, but they're a little bit more faded and they're less controllable. With profiles, you can also add gobos, which can give you specific images.
Excellent. So you talked about a few different lighting stages you can create as well there, and you use those. On the desk, how did you kind of operate? Did you bring up individual lights, or do you make groups?
We put them in various different subs. So instead of just turning them on and on with a single switch, just on, we mainly just pushed up the faders to give it a little bit more naturalistic look. We grouped them all together. So warm, we used like orange gels and red gels to give a warm effect, and then blue and lighter blue for cold. So we grouped them in subs and then just put them up with the various different scenes.
Excellent. What would you say your strengths are on the project?
I think my strength is queuing times, and I was very, very particular about each light coming on at the exact time that it needed to come on.
Excellent. Anything else that you think you worked well with? Any other strengths? Do you feel organised?
I think it was fairly well organised. We were able to get everything done correctly.
And how do you think you would do things differently next time? If you were doing another show where you're working on Spring Awakening next, is there anything from this experience that you would take forward?
Well, probably a little bit rough because we haven't really done this before, so with a little bit more experience we should be able to get things a little bit more effective, and you may use different lighting effects as well.
Yeah, so that's something you'd like to explore further. What would you like to do as your role in a future show? Because you've obviously done a bit of puppet making, set making, lighting. Is there any other areas that you're interested in?
I think I'd just like to explore everything a little bit more and get better at it.
Get a bit more experience and things. Anything else you'd like to say on the Children's Theatre talk? I think it went well as a whole.
Yeah, I think it went well as a whole.
Do you think the audience liked it?
Afterwards in one of the box performances, we got the kids to ask various questions about the actors, and I think they seemed fairly well engaged in it.
And did you think that the performances were good from the actors? Did they engage with the children, keep them interested?
Yeah, I think that was pretty effective. They incorporated the rats fairly well to go into the audience to organise things during various songs.
Excellent.